Prepare to experience the strongest radio allowable by law. Secrets will be revealed. Myths dispelled. From the studio gym where excuses never apply, it's Superhuman Radio with your host, Carl Lenore.
This is Science for Humans with Dr. Jeff Galini.
Dr. J, how you doing, brother?
Hey, Carl, how's it going? Hey, Alex.
Hey, Jeff.
So, here we go. This is a question that I hear all the time. In fact, Elisa just shared text messages with a friend of hers named Tracy. Now, this question was posed by Michelle in Washington, so we don't want to miss the opportunity to mention her. But Elisa just got this question the other day from a girl who said, I bought creatine and then my daughter's boyfriend said, don't take it. It'll make me hold water, make me bulky like a man. Women really believe that about creatine, huh?
They do, and this, I probably have seen this question a dozen times here the last couple weeks. So, but yeah, they do believe it. And I think it comes down to, most men don't understand it, but women really don't. And the problem is they're listening to some guy, which is usually their boyfriend, their son, someone who is giving some uneducated information to them.
So what exactly is creatine? Is creatine an amino acid?
It is derived from amino acids, but, creatine is essentially a substance that, and we do call it an amino acid, but it's essential for life. No creatine in your body, you cease to exist. It's one of the very few compounds that life cannot exist without. It's so important that our body actually manufactures it because we need that. A lot of people think about, energy, and they only think about carbohydrates and sugar. They don't realize that creatine is actually the main catalyst, behind that whole ATP production. Mm-hmm. So again, without that, life doesn't go on. So very, very important. What Michelle is talking about now is more from the supplement part of things, but you got to keep in mind that nature put creatine into meat. So again, it's in the animal sources, so we can get creatine from our meat sources. Depending on how we cook it, depends on, how much creatine we're actually getting in and not converting to creatinine. So those are kind of two things, that you got to keep in mind and don't confuse, creatine with creatinine.
Okay, a couple points. Meats with the highest level of creatine, pork followed by tuna, followed by beef. So if you eat pork, tuna, or beef, you're getting creatine in your diet. So that should at least make some people feel a little bit more comfortable with the supplement. Because it's coming in any of the most of the animal proteins you eat, so that's an interesting factor. So let's talk about creatine. Okay, I'm sorry. Good.
Well, I was going to say, and women's body are producing creatine also. So again, for someone to say, "Oh, don't take creatine, it's going to make you fat or bloaty," there is a reason why that happens. So again, it isn't the actual creatine; it's now moving over into the supplement realm. Because I don't think I've ever heard of anybody holding weight from eating tuna fish. Have you?
No, not at all. Now, creatinine, we hear about creatinine when we go for our CBC blood panel once a year because they look at the levels of creatinine in the blood as an indication of muscle breakdown, right?
Well, yeah, and that's part of how the measurement of your kidneys, because what you got to remember is being that this process is a normal process, our body produces creatine, we spend it, we burn it, we use it. The bio waste, kind of like when you burn gasoline, there is exhaust, is creatinine. So it's a normal process. So our body is able to rid that creatinine through our kidneys. So by getting your creatinine levels checked, there is a normal amount that should be coming through the kidneys that you will see. And I forget how many deciliters per liter or something that's measured. And when there is an issue, higher creatinine levels or extremely low, again, that is an indication of some type of kidney issue. But that's why they look at those type of things.
Now, in hard training individuals, doctors will often misdiagnose them with high creatinine levels when in reality, if you are training 4, 5, 6 days a week and you have a lot of muscle turnover, you're going to have higher creatinine levels even if you're not supplementing with creatine. So if you go to your doctor and he goes, my goodness, your creatinine levels are so high, we think there's something wrong with your kidneys, you may want to say, look, doc, I train 5 days a week, heavy resistance training. Could that be contributing to it? Because that is what's contributing to it. Any opinions on that?
Well, yeah, and most doctors, if they have some intelligence, they look at somebody who works out and they see that they've got more muscle. They know things aren't going to function like, I call them an abnormal person, but like a normal person.
Or Arnold used to call them regular people.
Yeah, regular people. There you go. Again, the more muscle you have, sometimes things aren't like the normal. It's like looking at the body weight chart and saying somebody like you or me being, 230 pounds, we're overweight for our height.
Right.
No, it doesn't work. We have our own scale of things. So, yeah, sometimes, eating more protein, training harder, having more muscle, you could see some elevated creatinine levels. But, again, they aren't going to be off the chart. They're going to be elevated compared to the regular people.
Now, one last thing, rhabdomyolysis is a situation where so much muscle breakdown has occurred that the kidneys can't clear the creatinine out of the system fast enough, and this could lead to death, actually. And this is seen in a lot of athletes who do extreme CrossFit type things where they just destroy their bodies and they end up in the hospital vomiting. And so creatinine is not anything to just take lightly. If it gets too high, it can kill you.
Well, and the thing you got to remember, I wrote a book about 10, 11 years ago called The Dangers of Creatinine. And it's still out there on Amazon and other online places, Barnes & Noble. But boy, did I take a lot of heat from the supplement industry because people were trying to tell me that creatinine is safe. One guy even said he was going to come out with a creatinine supplement. I'm like, you're ridiculous. Creatinine is not good. It's a bile waste. I mean, too much creatinine will kill you. I remember doing a study with Carl with mice where I subjected them to pure creatinine, and they were so lethargic that you would have thought they were drunk.
Right.
I mean, so again, their bodies just quit working right. So again, you got to be careful because the problem with kidney failure is you don't know it happened until it happens, and it's irreversible.
Right.
So again, I'm not trying to scare and say don't use creatine. No, you need it, but again, you got to be conscious about creatinine, whether it's from eating a lot of red meat and burning the heck out of it, which is by converting that creatine to creatinine, or taking creatine supplements in excess or ones that contain a lot of creatinine. Now, that doesn't mean your kidneys are going to fail in a week or two. Nobody knows. No one has subjected a human to creatinine to see how long it takes for those kidneys to fail. But again, if you know something is dangerous, smoking causes cancer. Don't smoke. I mean, I'm sorry. Be aware that creatinine is a potential danger, and it could lead to death. Besides kidney failure and everything else.
So let's go back to the supplements for a second. Back in the day when creatine first hit the market, it was said you had a load for the first 5 days, 20 grams a day, then back down to a maintenance dose of 5 to 10 grams a day. Was that loading phase a bad idea in retrospect?
Yeah, I think it was. I mean, I was the first one, as you know, that actually introduced the creatine monohydrate to the supplement industry. And there was a little research study that came out first overseas, and then it was published here, talking about the benefits of loading creatine to get more creatine into the muscle. It wasn't a very good study. It wasn't done with a lot of people from what I recall, but the companies that I manufactured it for used that as a marketing ploy. Because you got to remember, it's sold for about $100 for 100 grams. So if you could get someone to load, they would need 3 bottles in the first month. That's $300 worth of revenue, and people were paying it. So it was more of a marketing ploy than anything else because, again, your body can only use so much creatine. You can only store so much creatine. What happens to the excess? It is converted to creatinine. You got to get rid of it. So
okay.
Again,
so now here's the big question. So back in the day when you would load, I did it, everybody did it. Alex, have you ever done a 5-day load of creatine?
No, when I started creatine, I was already under the impression I just needed to take a low dose consistently, and
yes.
I would get there eventually.
And that's what we learned. We learned that that's actually the case. But back in the day, when you did 20 grams a day for 5 days, you put on anywhere from 5 to 8 pounds in those 5 days, and people went, this is all muscle. They thought that it was like a hyper-anabolic steroid. Oh, my God. But the reality is, was that all stored creatine in the muscle, or was that the creatinine overflow that causes water retention?
Well, again, it's the excess water retention, but a lot of it is from creatinine because, again, we now have proven that creatine monohydrate, any kind of creatine, instantaneously converts to creatinine. Well, what does your body want to do when you take in a poison, a toxin? It wants to flush it out. So you're going to be sending water. So, again, part of that was from the creatinine, just your body trying to flush out some of this poison. The other thing was just the fact that, that's part of what creatine does, especially in excess, is it wants to hold more water at the muscle. So, again, that was not healthy, holding that much water weight. People were having trouble breathing, increased blood pressure. But, again, to the average schmo, he thought he was gaining, 5 or 10 pounds in the first 2 weeks. And
it must be muscle.
After that, it actually worked. Then people started to see some of the benefits, But, again, the water retention was still an ongoing issue. You would take a sock off and you would see that indent because
right.
your foot was, puffy. And that's why, in the beginning, women who tried it, guys sometimes can get away with, their gut sticking out, especially now. I mean, that's normal to have a big old belly.
Right.
Where women don't like that. They didn't like that water retention. So a lot of women got off creatine just for that reason. And the myth continues. People hear about it. But again, it's usually from some woman who didn't try it, but she read something online or, somebody's boyfriend doesn't want their girlfriend to be too muscular, or gain weight,
Well, women hate if you say anything makes you retain water. For instance, growth hormone will make you retain water. Women will be like, I don't want to use growth hormone because I don't want to retain. If you tell a woman that anything will make them retain water, even if it's something great, and the water retention is actually beneficial from a biological standpoint, they don't want it because that makes the scale go up. And anything that makes the scale go up, a woman does not want. So this is where it becomes a slippery slope. There is a way for women to take advantage of creatine and recognize the benefits of creatine, but not experience any of the water gain. And that's what we're going to talk about when we come out on the other side of the break. Because this also applies to men. Alex Leaf kind of alluded to it a little while ago. So stay tuned. You're listening to Science for Humans, and we'll be right back. How to properly use carbohydrates to ignite your performance in the field and in the gym? You will now, thanks to this free book by EFX Sports. The Carb User's Guide for Maximum Performance reveals why omitting carbohydrates from your diet can totally crush your gains. Ever wonder how many grams you need for your specific sport? Not anymore. We give you the critical number you need to dominate your competition. You'll even discover the super carb that's taking the athletic world by storm. You must try it to believe it. Go to getcarbolin.com/carb guide today and get your copy absolutely free. Once again, it's GETKARBOLIN.com/CARBGUIDE.
Now, the #1 best-selling non-hormonal anabolic agent at PredatorNutrition.com. Progenadrex has established itself as the category killer. If you're having difficulty gaining muscle while staying lean, you owe it to yourself to try Progenadrex. 100% of store reviews rated it at 5 stars, the highest possible ranking. And today, right now, there are guys pouring their hearts out in the gym with little or nothing to show for it. Don't waste any more time. Go to PredatorNutrition.com today and get Progenadrex, the world's world's absolute best drug-free muscle gainer.
There are a few products that I believe in the way I believe in Can-C eye drops. I've been using Can-C for 6 months now, and the changes in my vision are nothing short of amazing.
Wow, that's an old commercial. The truth is I've been using Can-C eye drops for 11 years now, and I credit Can-C eye drops as being the reason that I do not need reading glasses at 58 years old. Can-C eye drops improves the quality and health of your eyes indefinitely. That's why I both use and endorse Can-C eye drops. Go to wisechoicemedicine.com and learn about how Can-C eye drops can improve the health of your eyes and the quality of your vision today. 4.6 million years of evolution gave us the blueprint for the perfect protein supplement for humans. So why do all protein supplement manufacturers ignore it? We don't. The first human-appropriate protein supplement is Thrive Advanced. Built around the blueprint of mother's milk, Thrive Advanced contains the amino acids, peptides, micronutrients, enzymes, probiotics, and vitamins that support protein absorption and assimilation. All of our dairy proteins come from happy cows on pastures here in the United States and are low-heat pasteurized. You'll never find any artificial sweeteners, additives, or ingredients. You won't even find thickeners or gums in Thrive Advanced. And we back up our label claims with post-production lab analysis that's available right on our website. Visit superhumanradio.com and click the Thrive Advanced banner ad and use code SHR and save 50% off your entire order today.
What do professional athletes such as Kobe Bryant and A-list celebrities such as Selma Hayek have in common? They are all touting the benefits of bone broth. But unless you have countless hours to cook every week or can hire your own personal chef, you're probably missing out on these critical nutrients. Osteobroth is a high-protein, standardized, consistent bone broth in a convenient powder form. Use promo code SHR for 20% off at osteobroth.com.
Ever feel like you want something crunchy? From the company that gave us the Quest protein bar, now comes the Quest high protein potato chips with 21 grams of high quality protein and only 5 grams of carbs and no artificial ingredients. Just like Quest bars, you'll feel like you're cheating, but you're not. Go to superhumanradio.com and click the Quest High Protein Potato Chip banner ad today and get ready to be satisfied. Thanks to Quest Nutrition, chips just aren't what they used to be.
Never before has an anti-estrogen been so powerful. The triazole formula is built on a potent, all-natural aromatase inhibitor called Pizole, which has been shown in clinical trial to be as effective as a leading prescription aromatase inhibitor. Pizole works in concert with the rest of the triazole formula to control estrogen while simultaneously boosting testosterone significantly. In fact, one of triazole's testers had a 120% increase in total testosterone and a 257% increase in free testosterone. Triazole is available at bodybuilding.com, nutriplanet.com, or where finer supplements are sold. For more information, check out getds.com.
You're listening to the Superhuman Channel. We're ripped and we're ready.
Welcome back. We're talking with Dr. Jeff Galini. This is Science for Humans. We're talking about creatine for women. Men get it. We use creatine. We're not afraid of it. Okay. But women are afraid of it, and they shouldn't be, because creatine is very beneficial for women as well. One of the things that is never discussed about creatine is the research that shows improvements in cognition, improvements in skin quality that's been damaged by the sun, and a suppression of homocysteine, because homocysteine is produced by the body during the creatine kinase cycle, the process that we actually manufacture creatine in our body. One of the spin-off metabolites from that process is homocysteine, which is a direct marker of heart disease. So when you supplement with creatine, lots of wonderful things can happen. But women don't get it. They're afraid of creatine. So Dr. J, what's the answer? What should women be doing so that they can leverage the benefits of creatine but not being afraid of the water weight gain?
Well, just to kind of conclude where we left off real quick, I wanted to say that, creatine, whether you manufacture it, it comes from food or from a supplement, it helps to retain water inside the cells. That's good. That's good for performance. It's good for your health. That's part of it. What you don't want is that subcutaneous water, which that's really where the big water retention comes. That's from the creatinine. So what women can do, like Michelle's question went on to talk about, did creatinine fix this problem? Yeah. First of all, creatine monohydrate is the only form of creatine that you want to use. I'm sorry, all the other forms, they're only a small percentage of creatine, 60%, 50%, 40%. So you lose the benefit, but you got higher creatinine levels. The problem with creatine monohydrate is it's not stable. The minute it hits solution, it starts to convert to creatinine. That means you are ingesting creatinine. So what I developed was Crealkaline, which basically fixed that flaw, stabilized that creatine so that it wouldn't convert to creatinine in solution. So, Michelle, what you want to do is you want to use Crealkaline. Now, depending on, what it is you're trying to do, I usually recommend women just taking one cap, 750 milligrams. Now, all the guys out there are going to go, that doesn't do anything. Yes, it does. First of all, you're not a woman. Now if you're a competitive bodybuilder or a figure or fitness, something along that line, then I would probably put you on a little bit more. But if you just want to be healthy, have more energy, better skin, feel better, all you got to do is take 750 milligrams in the morning. It doesn't matter when you do it. The best is the consistency that you do it every day. So I like replenishing those creatine stores first thing in the morning.
So the magic is the magic in just the fact that Crealkaline is buffered, or is it also by not overdoing the creatine intake in general?
You got two things. So, my studies, I went up to as much as 12 or 13 grams of Crealkaline, and I found that it actually worked less effectively than lower dosages. So, first of all, it is the fact that it's buffered, so we aren't taking in any creatinine. So now we've eliminated this subcutaneous water, kind of your body's defense to flush that out. The second is you don't need to take a whole lot of it. So, maybe with some of the other creatines you might have to take more. But again, my recommendation, even if you don't want to use Crealkaline, don't use a whole lot. You don't need to use much. It's all marketing. And as you see now, everybody is recommending 1.5 grams a day, where when I first came out with that back in 2001, people were like, oh, that's not enough, not enough. Now they all are lowering their dosages because they know I was right.
Yeah. And then the other thing is a mindset. Women need to understand that the scale changing is not a bad thing.
Right.
Well, let me rephrase that. If the scale goes up, it's not necessarily a bad thing. Just the way if the scale goes down, it's not necessarily a good thing. There's lots of people out there who have chronic diseases that result in cachexia that would give anything not to lose weight. The scale keeps going down further and further. We have to abandon once and for all this notion that all weight loss is good and all weight gain is bad. If you are gaining weight and it's in your muscles, that's a wonderful thing, because muscle is metabolic currency. It's what burns calories just sitting still. So the more muscle you have, the greater metabolic rate you have, the more calories you can take in without supplying the body with fuel for fat. I mean, it just gets better and better and better. And women need to start to embrace muscle.
Yeah. And the better you look. So, throw your scale out. I mean, the scale is the most ridiculous thing ever sold. I don't know who they're in cahoots with, but the scale doesn't mean anything. So many people say, oh, I weighed myself in the morning, and I'm not going to eat tomorrow because by nighttime I gained 7 pounds.
Yeah.
I weighed again. No. Go with the mirror. How do you feel? How do you look? If you really want to dial it in, get some of those inexpensive calipers and actually measure your body fat. Because like you said, Carl, if you are exercising, you are training, you're going to put on some muscle. And I always say muscle weighs more than fat. I mean,
does.
You should be gaining some weight, but leaning up, you should be able to see some stomach muscles, some ab muscles, maybe a couple veins here or there. But again, you should feel better. So get rid of the scale, use the mirror, use your clothes, get you some calipers, measure some body fat if you really want to dial it in to know what is good and what's not good.
Now, any women that are listening to the show today, any way for them to get a free sample of Crealkaline Supplement Santa?
Absolutely. I'm good friends with Supplement Santa now.
Yeah, I heard. I heard you have a direct line to him.
Him and I are good friends. Yeah, you know what? If you have not tried creatine and you want to try it, go to Superhuman Radio, look for Ask the Scientist. Make sure you put your name and your address, your full mailing address, and just say, hey, I want to try some of that creatine you guys talked about, and I'll send you out a free sample. Or go to Dr. Jeff Galini Facebook, and you can message me there, or right on the Facebook page, you'll see test drive or free samples or something like that. You can just hit that and also put your information in. I will send you some absolutely free because I want you to see how beneficial it is for you to helping you to reach your goals. I'm telling you, it will be like night and day. Anyone who is on a stump, you're not making any gains, you're not losing, get on some Crealkaline and watch what happens.
There you go. So that doesn't get better than that. Test drive it before you plunk down your money. What does that say? Dr. J, as always, brother, thank you for what you do.
Thank you much. Good talking to everybody, and we'll see you next week.
See you next